been a while since I've been in front of camera.
Fool me once and it's shame on me, but you know you better tread carefully. Fool me twice, I'm your enemy. I'm your enemy. Run, you better run. Vendetta, run, you better. Vendetta.
If you're relatively new to my channel, I'm sure that one of the first videos that you've watched was my recent channel update. I usually do this once every year, closer towards the end of the year, so I can kind of share what I want to do with my channel and what I hope to see for the following year, going forward. But if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you probably know that I usually stick to those plans for the first 2 months out of the year before just scrapping it and doing whatever I want. And since I didn't have a proper computer to be able to edit my videos, that didn't happen this year. I'm not going to be getting into what kind of changes my channel is going to experience because for the most part, I will be sticking with the plan that I already had in my original update. But I did kind of want to get into what exactly has been going on because a lot has changed, my perspective's changed, but I do kind of want to go over why I seem to do a lot of flip-flopping for my channel. It's kind of difficult for me to keep it straight because I'm still trying to find myself. I'm still trying to discover what kind of content I want to put out there. The videos that I enjoy making the most are the essay videos. The writing lifestyle video I think is definitely the avenue that I want to go towards. As much as I like the professional look of it, as much as I like the style of editing and the quality of it, the research part is kind of where I'm still shaky and where I'm still learning. I'm not a journalist. I said that again and again, but I am trying to learn how to better use the tools on the internet to be able to find more reliable sources, so it's not just, random blogs or just random people spewing stuff, and where to find certain facts, where to find certain numbers, so I can add more of a professional, knowledgeable quality to my videos. I know you guys might be a little frustrated because I was promising to be able to get videos out on a more regular basis. I was hoping to get out a video at least every week, at least every other week, by incorporating this routine, which has been working relatively well. It's just that the last month has been so much going on. So I am getting back to that routine. I found out that my biggest problem is deadlines. I haven't been giving myself proper deadlines because I've been going by hours. I usually do time crunches and it's just not effective for me. It's not working. It's not working for my writing, and it's just stressing me out more because I'll tell myself, well, you have a couple hours to do this, you have an hour to do this, and in my head that's not enough time. So I spent that whole time just stressing and being super anxious because I only have this much time and I want to get this much work done, and I end up hardly getting anything done, or I get a really rushed product that doesn't sit well with me. So I am going to be trying to find a healthier way to give myself proper deadlines, give myself enough space and enough room to be able to grow, to be able to put in this effort. I think a big part of it is I have been pushing myself to burnout for so long and so hard that immediately it's like this panic button trips in my brain whenever I have this tight schedule or this tight itinerary. And what I really want to start working on as far as my personal life goes is just forming a set routine. I think that it is one of the most important things that any writer can do because I know a lot of us can get disorganized. A lot of us have a lot going on in our personal lives. A lot of us have a lot going on when it comes to writing. If you're YouTube, you also have YouTube. I'm sure you have a job. Some of you are doing freelance editing on the side. There's a lot. So it is important to have a set routine and it's important to have a set schedule. I just have to work on my trauma responses. Just kind of teach myself that it's okay and figure out a way to be able to steadily create content, to steadily have a writing schedule, and then provide, little gaps along the way. So I am currently working on that, and I am hoping that that will solve the issue as far as the videos go. As much as I would like to be able to get the essay videos out on a regular basis, unfortunately, I don't think I can do that. Now, I told you guys that I would be saving a lot of time when I got my PC for editing, and it was true. Editing the last video was a breeze. I didn't have to deal with the buffering. Before, when I was editing on my laptop, sometimes the entire thing would crash. I either lose all of my progress and have to start over, or I'd have to just keep rebooting the software and hoping to God that it didn't crash on me before it reopened. It was a real pain, and thankfully I don't have to deal with that anymore. However, because I decided that I wanted to take my channel in a more professional, knowledgeable, objective kind of avenue when it comes to discussing certain topics, I at least want to know what I'm talking about. So I kind of took that time that I was wasting on all of the useless re-editing and kind of transferred it over to the research, because there's a lot on the internet and there's a lot of sources, and because I am still learning how to use those resources and to use those tools, so it is kind of a slow go. As much as I don't want to do the in-person videos, I've been going through my queue, I've been going through the whole slew of scripts and video ideas that I have, and realistically a lot of them are opinionated. A lot of them can be discussions, a lot of them can be videos where I just talk to the camera, even if I look like an idiot. I don't feel the most comfortable in front of a camera. It bothers me. So temporarily I'm thinking I might return to the in-person videos to try to get some of these ideas out, whether it's in preparation for an essay video so I can also gather your thoughts and get your input, just to help me kind of think outside the box. Speaking of close-minded, when I made my last update video, the Jenna Moressi's Savior's Champion videos were probably roughly around the 800 to 1,000 view mark. So they were picking up in speed, and I was like, oh, okay, great, people like this. But with that came the comment section. And I would agree. I think I took it a little too far. I keep saying that I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to be bitchy, and I don't want to... I like the idea of roasting people, and I like the idea of being kind of comedic and kind of poking the bear and kind of pointing out certain things about the community. Some things really do bother me. Some things I do feel really passionate about. Now, I'm not opposed to being that, but I think that as far as the emotional response goes, I need to kind of work on reining that in at least a little bit. Jenna Moresi has been giving advice for a long time. A lot of people listen to her, a lot of people follow her, and just because I don't like her anymore doesn't mean that she's not benefiting somebody else's writing journey, doesn't mean that her works can't be enjoyed by people. I'm not going back completely on what I said about the book. I still think that it is very structurally flawed, and I think that for someone who gives so much advice, she doesn't do enough self-reflection for her works for it to at least show through her writing. I'm considering taking down the videos. I think I got a little too catty. I think I got a little too carried away, and when I learned more about Jenna through her Q&A sessions, through her live streams, and she was sharing certain things about her personal lives, I realized some of my jokes were big faux pas. So I'm sorry. I didn't know. I swear. I did not know. And there were a couple of people that brought up like the questionable taste in my humor. I do like the dark humor. Sometimes I do take it a little too far, but you gotta kind of push the line to know where it's at. So I kind of getting a feel for how far I want to take it and how far I want to go on my channel and just as a person. I'm not perfect, obviously. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing more of a compilation video. I said in my update that I wanted to create essays diving into the writing of AuthorTube writers, because I think almost all of them started as debut writers, at least all of the big ones that from what I've seen. All of them started as debut writers. All of them were giving advice before their first book was even written, let alone published. And that's just a little fishy for me. And that doesn't mean that all of them, you know, weren't doing like writing at the time, but it's that professional veneer. It's that professionalism that comes off and comes across. And especially when most of them are indie published, which means that they didn't have to go through the gatekeeping. Some of them did edit their books, but I have a feeling that they were looking for lower priced editors, because when you read through their works, you can tell that they either skipped the developmental editors, which tend to be the most expensive. Publishing companies tend to either hire qualified editors or whole teams of editors to be able to go through work. Meg Latour was saying that she had like 3 editors, I think, which kind of caught me off guard. Her work does read more professional, but it was really lacking in the developmental editing. Jenna's book, I only read through once, and if you haven't read The Savior's Champion, it's long, it's very repetitive, it's a slog, and it's too much of a lot of unnecessary things. Like, the book did not need to be that long, in my opinion. I think it could have been cut down to 300 and something pages, and it would have been more effective, because it didn't pack as much of a punch when it's drawn out and there's so much filler to it. There were a lot of things that I could have dove in deeper, especially when I was watching other reviewers review the work and I was like, oh, how did I miss that? It's because I only read through it once. And by the third act, I just wanted it to be over with. So I'm going to be remaking that video under one video. It's not going to be a two-parter, but it will be a compilation comparing, Eve the Awakening, Savior's Champion to Savior's Sister, possibly her new work, depending on how long it takes me to get through those books. But I kind of want to compare her writing progress as well to see if these writers really are learning as much, even if they are teaching. And it is an art form, so there is no like right or wrong way to do it as far as the artistic side goes. And it can be structurally unsound and still sell hundreds of thousands of copies. It can still be a bestseller. It can still give you the life that you want. But that brings to mind like other discussions that I've been wanting to have, because I recently watched this documentary on Hulu. I love it because it gets into how these writers started out, and you don't have to have a perfect book. You don't even have to have it grammatically sound in order to sell. I think it is important to be relatively skilled at every area when it comes to writing. There's a lot of fan fiction. There's a lot of things on Wattpad and on Inkit. There are a lot of indie books that sell a lot of books because people are buying it for the story. Whether it's impulse buying, whether it's smut fiction, it kind of is a more hopeful outlook to it, because a lot of AuthorTube focuses mostly on the technical side of it. And that's always something that bothered me, is because, well, it's very important to have that technical side to it, especially if you want to be seen as more than amateur. They don't really dive into the story. They don't really dive into what makes a good story, about theme or about subtext or about the deeper elements that actually give more substance to your book. And originally I was putting the videos in the description of the upcoming videos that I was working on. I'm going to try to do the polls instead, which is kind of similar, but it gives you guys more of a say as far as what you would want to see next, which is important for me because clearly I don't really know what you guys want to see from my channel. So in my last poll, you guys voted for the politics and authorship, which I was kind of hoping for. So that one popped up first, and I expected you guys to want to get the smut fiction next, but you guys wanted to talk about the YA addiction and why everyone is so addicted to YA. So how it's going to go is I'm going to do politics on AuthorTube first. I will be working on the YA addiction next, and then following that, came in third place was the smut fiction. Now, not many people voted on the corporate cryout, so what I'm thinking is in my next poll, the corporate cryout will be another option, followed by 3 more options. One of them will be Cyborg Tinkerer, because I need to get it over with. It's so much work. I have read 5 times now, so I'm going through it one more time and trying to organize those notes and condense all of the information, because it's a lot to get into. It is a lot. The 2-hour reviews and live streams that I was finding about it on YouTube. I get it. I get why they have to be that long. It's because there's so much to talk about in that book. So that will be another option, followed by 2 more options that you guys will be able to vote on to see what you want to see next. If Corporate Cryout ends up having to be recycled after like somewhere between 3 and 5 polls, I haven't decided yet. I'm just going to scrap the idea completely. And then I'm thinking I'm going to do that for the rest of the year and see how that works out. Now that doesn't mean that my next video is going to be politics on AuthorTube. It could take me a month to research. It doesn't mean that the week after I publish politics on AuthorTube that the YA book addiction is going to come next. What it means is these are the essays that I am currently working on that I am hoping to release at least bi-weekly or monthly, depending on the amount of research that I have to do for the video. And sometimes I have to rewrite my entire script. So it's like drafting for me, because I don't just write it once and I have to go over it again and again and again and again. And it is a form of writing. These videos are a form of writing. Unfortunately, that does mean that I'm going to have to push back the debut authors discussion. I'm trying to narrow down the authors on here as far as researching for the compilation videos. I know Mandy Lynn is on the list. Jenna Moresi, Meg Latour, Kristen Martin, of course, and then Alexa Dunn. I think I'm just going to keep to those 5. Kristen Martin, I was still kind of hazy about because I know that she recently left. She was into the spirituality and healing and stuff, and she's a lot of stuff on Guru Gossip about her. I had no idea what was even going on, but she could just be trying to make her way like the rest of us. She could just be trying to figure out what works for her. But I am going to do her books just because she was a prominent AuthorTubers that came on the scene. So that's what the polls are going to be for. It's just basically deciding which essay you want me to work on next. And then in between that, I think I can spend a day in the week to be able to just film an in-person video, edit it, and get it out so you guys are still getting consistent content, even if it isn't the content that I want to be putting out regularly. I did promise you guys that I was going to get my website up pretty soon. Unfortunately, it's having an even bigger identity crisis than my YouTube channel. I got the aesthetic down, but I have no idea what to put on my website. I don't know if I want to do book reviews. I don't know if I want to do blog. I don't know if I want to do writing advice, because honestly, I don't feel like I'm qualified, and my opinions on writing and the things that I learn about writing are constantly changing. So I don't know if I just want it to be a professional site where I just end up marketing random merch if I ever have any. I have had a few people comment, and I have had a few people who wanted me to either review their works or go over their works and help them work on them, and kind of conflicted about that, because on one hand, I want to help, but on the other hand, I would either have to take the time off work, which means that the editing services wouldn't be cheap, because I would have to wake up when I'm missing from work, and that might not be steady enough for me to take off of work. Also, I don't really feel like I'm quite qualified yet. I'm literally just giving a different perspective. I'm just kind of diving into picking apart certain things that don't make sense. But in the end, it doesn't matter. All of AuthorTubers on here sell their books fairly well, even though they are pretty structurally unsound, even though I think, in my opinion, they're terrible books. A lot of people like them. Art can still inspire people, even if it's not perfect. So the editing services is something that I'll be taking in consideration, but I won't be doing or offering anytime soon or anytime this year, at least not until I get more knowledge on the area. The reason that I do create these channel updates is because my channel is going to consistently evolve. It is going to continue to grow, not just an audience, but it's going to change over a course of time, and I kind of want to document what I want to see for it. I kind of want to document where I'm kind of going with it, and also keep track of where I've been. And I think that's all for this video. I will see you guys hopefully next week. I'm currently working on the politics in AuthorTube. It might take a couple more weeks before I get that one out, so next week's video will be another in-person video, hopefully.
You better